Hello, people of the internet. I am Andres Perez, aka Kaiji Noir, and welcome to episode 25 of Fully Endorsed. Now, it's because it's been another 5 episodes, I decided to bring on another guest. This one is an individual who I had the pleasure of working with for a good number of years at this point. We started collaborating through a sort of a mini crossover with my Rebirth of Mothra trilogy reviews, and we have since worked together on a few novels featuring a character that has been a big part of Chinese culture and sort of like the general main inspiration that plays a big part into today's subject of review. That is Lego Monkie Kid, which was a series that started last year in 2020, whose first season we will be covering today. Lego Monkie Kid also being part of a larger new branch of the Lego toy line, of course. And so, here with me today, as always, is my good old trusty co-host, Dillion McCandless, aka Super DM64.
Hi, everybody. A little sick this week, so not sure how much I'm gonna be contributing to this conversation, but I'm here as always.
All right, thank you very much, man. And of course, last but certainly not least, it is the one and only Crooked Fellow himself, William Kearney, aka Crookedlore.
It's 2 a.m. in the morning. I don't know where I am. I forgot my name, and I'm here to talk about Legos.
Yeah. So, I guess just the general question to both of you guys. What has been your history with Lego as a brand?
Dillion, you go first?
It's a bit like asking, what's your history with apple pie? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a thing. I didn't play with a ton of Lego growing up, to be honest with you, because I didn't have the patience for it. I would get very angry very quickly if I couldn't build the thing the way it was supposed to go, and it did not gel well with my with my child personality. That being said, I did enjoy some Bionicle back in the day, so that's Lego brand.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Lego video games. I've played a lot of the early ones, particularly, the first 2 Lego Star Wars and Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Batman, the early ones. Before they talked. They ruined everything when they started talking. And even the Bionicle game on the PlayStation 2. I don't know how many people remember that.
I have that game.
That game gave me a massive headache.
That odd game. That's pretty much my history with Legos. Not a whole lot to say, unfortunately, but it's obviously a very famous, very recognizable brand. Everybody knows Lego, regardless of whether they played with much Lego.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Andres.
I was just gonna say, did you also happen to watch any of the recent Lego movies?
No.
Go ahead.
No, never did.
Wow, I really got to bring up the first movie for Fully Endorsed one of these days.
Yeah, I watched the.
God, great! And I was like, whatever.
I watched the first one and Lego Batman.
Me too. Maybe one of these days I'll change your mind, Dillion.
I do want to see, out of all of them, I do want to see Lego Batman, just because I know about all the references and stuff.
Okay. And so, what about you, Will? What has been your personal history with Legos?
Well, like many people, I grew up playing with Legos, and of course, once I got older, I eventually got rid of them. But a few years ago, I wanted to try to do stop motion, and I figured Legos would be the best part, so I did get a few sets, but I stopped because they were expensive.
Mm.
The minifigures alone are like $5 each.
Wait, really?
Yes.
The Lego is fucking expensive, Andres. I don't know if you know this as an adult.
Somehow my collectibles are cheaper. The Marvel Legends, the SH Monster Arts in comparison.
Yeah, unless they go back to making wooden ducks, I don't think
that's a reference to the Lego episode of The Toys That Made Us.
Yes, which you can find out all about by watching the Toys That Made Us, or episode da-da-da of Fully Endorsed, where we talk about them.
Episode the da-da-da.
Yeah, the best episode.
Whatever.
This episode is dun dun dun.
And so, I guess
Episode
yeah. What was that?
I said episode so and so, whatever.
Episode yada yada.
Yeah, whatever number that was.
And so, have you seen any of the recent movies, Will?
Like I said, I have watched the first Lego movie and Lego Batman. I gained no interest in the sequel to a Lego movie.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't really pique my interest. The whole with like the girl Legos or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And I'm
That just looked weird.
And I take it you're not a.
You didn't rush out to the theaters to see Lego Ninjago either?
I debated on that, actually. I don't know. It just didn't pique my interest as much. Of course, I saw Lego Batman because I'm a DC fan and it looked hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure all of us who are, we're all of similar age. Ninjago was a franchise that was like well beyond our time.
It looked funny, but it just didn't pique my interest enough to actually go see it.
Yeah. As for me personally, I definitely grew up with several forms of Lego over the years. I recall the earliest toy sets I had were of Lego Life on Mars. Definitely grew up with, for many years, perhaps like throughout elementary school and middle school, I was a huge Bionicle fan, trying my best to keep up with the overly complicated lore that you had to go everywhere to fit the whole puzzle piece of story together. Because there was never.
You guys remember the Bionicle movies?
Oh God, yes! I forgot to mention those. I saw all four movies actually. Yeah.
The only one I ever saw was The Mask of Light.
Right, that was like the major one. Everyone after that was just like, it's another one.
Looking back now, Lego put a lot of lore into that, which blows my mind.
Yeah,
They put a lot of. They didn't make it very accessible. Like
no.
all over the place. There was no.
You had to read the novels. You had to watch the movies. It's worse than Star Wars.
You had to read the DC comics that only came packaged with a subscription to Lego Magazine, which I had at the time.
Anytime somebody complains to me that they can't get into the MCU because there's too much, I'm like, bitch, you never tried to follow Bionicle.
Yeah, and by the time it's all said and done, I do highly recommend anybody to check out there's a series called Lego Rewind on YouTube, where this individual does a great job doing these retrospectives on old Lego toy lines, and he did a whole like hour-long documentary on Bionicle, going over and chronicling the entire story from beginning to end. You're like, holy shit!
It's like impossible to memorize any of the names because it's all done in this like Pacific Islander language.
Yeah, like pseudo-Hawaiian Polynesian language. Pohatu and Tahatu and Hakuna Matata.
Like, I don't want to have to learn Swahili to follow your brand here, Lego. I'm 10. I just want to enjoy, this, whatever this is.
Yeah. And let's see. Yeah, I did grow up with watching all four Lego Bionicle movies. I played a lot of the games like Dillion. I played Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. No need for any more outside of that. Looking at you.
I also played those. I actually remember I got when I first got one of the original game systems. That was like a bonus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Lego Batman. I never played Lego Batman 2 or 3 because at that point it was just DC heroes. So I was like, I like my Batman more.
Yeah, I didn't play it, but I did watch the cutscenes to the villains because all the voice actors were from different DC animated projects, and I thought it was really cool.
Oh yeah, that does sound nifty.
The only newer Lego game I'm sad I never got to play is Lego Lord of the Rings. I bet that would have been fun.
Oh shit, that's right. They did do that along with like Harry Potter, and that's when they start, and The Hobbit. That's when and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And that Lego Dimensions where they like did this big crossover,
right?
Trying to get on that whole bringing toys to life thing.
They even threw freaking Sonic. What's that? Dylan?
They rank and bass to that shit. They just threw everything into one big game.
Yeah. It's like whenever you're gonna get a game with Doctor Who, with Doctor Who, Back to the Future, Knight Rider, and Sonic, and Scooby-Doo all in the same series.
With Batman teaming up with Gandalf fighting through the multiverse.
Yeah.
When they go to the Simpsons world, that's actually a level in the story.
Unfortunately, that came at a time where everyone was already starting to get sick of those Toys to Life games, but it definitely seemed to have had a lot of potential.
Still probably made sales, especially with the Sonic one.
No, definitely, yeah. I think that was like, for a lot of these franchises, it was the first time they ever got Lego representation.
You actually have to buy the minifigure in order to play as it in the game.
Yep.
Yes.
That's
Just
fucking,
just like all the other ones at the time, like Disney and Fendi and all that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like DLC, but with so much extra work.
Yes, yes, it is.
As we've already established, Lego is fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Lego primarily, as I learned from the Lego Rewind series on YouTube, Lego tends to deal with a lot of brands, and those extra brands cost money to keep a hold of. So that's why a lot of these brands, a lot of these like branded Lego sets, are often come with a very high price. Or rather, no. Maybe it's the original sets that come with a very high price point, because it's like, we're not getting a deal, or wait. No, I forgot which one. If it's like the brands, the like franchise brand sets, or the original sets. I think I want to say, because it costs a lot of money to keep a hold of the brand, that anything connected to said brand, like Lego Marvel, Lego DC, Lego Harry Potter, they gotta increase the price of those sets to make up for the cost that it takes to actually purchase the licensing rights to those brands in the first place.
Now, I have noticed, like I said, when I was trying to do the stop motion, that when a set, even if it's relatively new, if it gets like a year old, they'll increase the price significantly. Quite a bit. I have trouble saying that.
I think that's like the general case with most toy lines, because like most toys don't really last on the shelf for like more than a couple months, maybe like 4 months total before the next wave comes in. At which point,
but this goes like $10 could go to $50.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I know that, I understand that Lego it would be beneficial for them to work on original properties, because that doesn't require any licensing rights to purchase whatsoever. So I wasn't surprised that they wanted to make something like Ninjago a thing. But then you came across Monkie Kid, which was, it's technically, on a legal standpoint, an original property, but
at least I hope it is.
Yeah, but based on a very well-known, one of the most popular stories in all of history, Journey to the West, at least in terms of Asian stories.
It's also inspiration for a lot of storytelling.
Right, yeah, and as I'm sure Dylan will bring up soon enough, one connection that most Westerners like us have to Journey to the West is Dragon Ball.
And God's Wrath.
Yeah.
And God's Wrath, yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Most of this review is going to be Will explaining Journey to the West to us, because as Andres was just alluding to, all of my Journey to the West knowledge comes from Dragon Ball. And so the whole time we're watching this show, I'm like, is that the Ox King? Is that Chi-Chi? Is that Oolong?
Well,
is that Virginia?
It beats a lot of the other comments I've seen where someone said, "Oh, like Avatar: The Last Airbender."
No.
I almost vomited. I was disgusted.
No, you dingus.
Uncultured swine.
It's Asian doesn't mean it's like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's just racist.
Avatar: The Last Airbender isn't even really Asian.
So my question to you, Will, is how the hell did you come across Monkie Kid?
Now, that's actually a funny story. On Facebook, I joined a Sun Wukong page to, well, obviously promote the book.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I was shown there was a review for a Lego set that said Lego Monkie Kid. And looking at it, it was the mech. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that looks like Sun Wukong. Obviously, at first, I thought that's got to be a fake set, because all these bootleg sets claiming to be Lego out there.
True, yeah.
Especially it's from China.
It's Pego.
Especially
it's Mego. Yeah, China. Oh yeah, China.
I went on YouTube and found all these different reviews and seeing a lot of things. Like you see Princess Iron Fan, you see the Demon Bull King. It's like, okay, this is going deep. It's going deep in there. You see Pigsy, and then I ran across the trailer to the series.
So it let you down this deep rabbit hole, or deep monkey hole, rather.
Please don't ever say that again.
Oh, I will now.
But yeah, I watched the trailer, and for some reason, what's supposed to be Legos has this very smooth, energetic animation.
Yeah, which apparently this series was animated by the same company that did Rise of the TMNT, which say what you will about the art style and the story and the writing, but when the action ramps up, damn, does that series look good.
I will defend it by saying I did like their take on Shredder's story, and I did like the final 2 episodes.
I also found it kind of interesting that they turned Splinter into a human again, but he's not a kung fu master. He was essentially Jet Li.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting twist. I just didn't like how he acted in it. He didn't feel like Splinter.
Okay. But anyway, so you saw the series.
And then obviously I went to you going, Andres, you're not going to believe what I just found. There's a Journey to the West Lego series.
At that point, I thought you were just like filling out this, like the script like a Mad Libs book. Like Lego, Journey to the West, Lego, series.
And then you brought it to Winter Gaia to show him, and he was like, holy shit, this is real?
Yeah, like everyone is like, Nani? And it was just very surprising to me that Lego would, coincidentally, the same year that you came out with your second book, which was, heavily entrenched in Journey to the West lore, with Sun Wu, your interpretation of Sun Wukong being
the best interpretation,
the main version, the main character of your series, or like one of the 2 main characters of your series. So like it's such a weird, bizarre coincidence that the same time you were working on this, a company like Lego saw what you saw in this story, which is like, we can make something out of this. Like money.
I'll tell you exactly. I'll tell you exactly what Lego saw.
Yeah.
They saw the Chinese economy, and they said, "Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar." Yeah. And they fucking
but better.
And they said, "We know 2 things about China: communism and Journey to the West. So let's do Journey to the West.
Let's do the fun one."
Yeah. It totally makes sense that they're doing this for a.
Although Lego communism would be very entertaining. I would love to see little Lego Stalin.
I was just thinking, I bet you there's there's probably at least like, it's the internet, there's probably like 50 Lego Stalins you can purchase off eBay right now.
Oh yeah, there's custom Lego Hitlers out there. It all exists. Everything's been done.
Where's my Lego set with Lego Stalin, Lego Lenin, Lego Putin?
Whatever gets your dick hard, Andres. There's somewhere.
Lego Vlad the Impaler.
So you showed this to me. I checked out the TV special. What was it called? Like Hero Rises.
Yeah. No, I found the TV special.
Born,
That's another thing I actually ran across by accident, because I only found a trailer and I couldn't find any of the episodes anywhere. One of the pages I followed did a fan art of it. I was like, I've been interested in this series, but I can't find it anywhere. It said the first episode's on YouTube. Found that. I shared the link with you. And that's how we ended up finding the first episode, and then, of course, the other episodes weren't around for a while.
Right. I was like, there's a series about this? Because it's like, for a TV special, that makes sense. It's like, roughly like 45 minutes or whatever, and yeah, it does. It kind of makes sense. Like, I don't think we do this a lot these days, where you put out a movie/TV special to hype up the series proper. Like, I remember when Jimmy Neutron had that movie, and everyone's like, I was like, what the fuck is a Jimmy Neutron? And it's like, oh, there's a series coming out. Okay, I see what you did there, Nickelodeon. Or remember, what was it called? I think it was called Reanimated. Not Reanimated. No, that's a Reanimator.
No,
I think it was
Reanimated.
Reanimated. That was the live-action animated hybrid weird TV movie that Cartoon Network made. That was a pilot to.
Cartoon Network's weird phase.
Yeah, it was out. Yeah, their weird live-action phase from like 2009 to 2010, and it was a sequel. It was like a backdoor pilot to Out of Jimmy's Head.
Well, sometimes, and I don't know if they do this so much now, but this was definitely a thing when we were kids.
Mhm.
You would take like the first 2 or 3 episodes of a show and call it a movie, like Samurai Jack or Batman Beyond,
Right,
Superman TA. These are all shows that. Oh, but Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear did.
That a
Buzz
movie,
Lightyear did,
Justice League.
Buzz Lightyear did it the Monkey Kid way. They had a movie that was like separate from the show itself.
Yeah, and they
They
released
had,
it
like,
on VHS.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You remember the framing device where Rex was like playing the Buzz Lightyear video game?
Yeah, and he was trying to get it to work. It's like, no, no. What was it? Woody was trying to put the VHS in the VCR, which goes to show you how old this series was. He's like, it's jammed, and Rex like, jammed, no.
Yeah,
it's just
this is why
Woody fucking with him.
I can't get behind this new Chris Pine. Is it Chris Pine? Buzz Lightyear
Evans.
movie. It's Chris Evans.
God, no, you're right.
I can't get behind it because it's gonna go against Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and that's the canon. Damn it!
Yeah, that's no
Can't
good.
do this to me again.
I can't
I'm
watch
pretty
the
sure Chris Pratt doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of topping Patrick Warburton's Buzz Lightyear.
Also,
You
I
gotta get
can't
it.
watch it. It'd be blasphemy to the framed picture of Tim Allen I have in my room.
What were you gonna say, Dylan?
I think I already said what I was gonna say.
Okay. So yeah, like it was kind of refreshing to see this TV special that felt like parts of 2 episodes slapped together into a sort of mini movie.
Technically 4.
Four episodes?
Well, it's not long. They're not long. They're not long.
Right. I forgot. That's a weird thing. This is going to be a big critique that Dylan and I are going to come back to for this discussion, and that is like all the episodes are only 10 minutes long in order to fill a quarter-hour block, which has been a thing that a lot of Western cartoons have been doing since
And it's a Chinese one.
Yeah, well, I guess it's produced by America, I'm assuming. But this has been a thing in American cartoons ever since, like, I want to say 2010, with like regular shows, Steven Universe, Adventure Time, Gumball. All these have 15-minute block episodes, and this was sort of a thing back in the day where a lot of TV shows, they would have half-hour blocks, but each episode had 2 mini segments. This is essentially like that, but like for those of you who haven't watched animation since 2010. They just took those like two segment episodes and split them apart into 2 each segment is their own, each 10 to 15 to 10 minute episode is their own separate individual episode. And but with this one was like 45 minutes, so it could fill up an hour-long block. So I would say it felt like 2 30-minute episodes as opposed to 4 10-minute episodes. And I really like the Monkey Kid, A Hero is Born special. I feel like it's, because it's got so much time in comparison to all these other episodes, it's got like the best pacing compared to the rest of the series. But even then, it definitely moves at like a very, very rapid pace. But overall, I did like how it was able to introduce you to this fanciful fantasy technologically advanced society, a society that I'm assuming is in which it was kind of reminding me a bit of like San Francisco from Big Hero 6, but instead
that'd be the best comparison.
Yeah, where it's just a fusion of like Western and Chinese cultures. I like to assume that this is like the future where the Chinese essentially took over the world.
Yeah. A bit of a steampunk look to it too.
A little bit, yeah, I can see that, especially with DBK's cyborg design and a lot of the machinery used, like industrial machinery used invented by Red Sun. Dylan, what were your thoughts on the original pilot?
Yeah, I think the the special, the pilot, whatever you want to call it. I think it's the best part of the whole series, honestly, because of what you were saying. It's a little bit longer. You have more time to really get to know the characters, and everything has a little bit more time to breathe. And there's a lot that happens in that episode, special, whatever you want to call it. It's a very packed 45 minutes. There's a lot of lore that they have to get out of the way, and I thought they did a really good job of all of that. The origin story of the main character is laid out, very well, and it ends with a giant robot fighting a giant bull man. So what more could you really ask for?
Fuck yeah. And what about your thoughts, Will? What are your thoughts on how this series began?
Well, first off, I got hooked as soon as I saw the opening fight between Monkey King and Demon Bull King.
Right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. It has definitely starts off in a very killer fashion, showing off the best that this animation has right off the bat. And it kind of reminds me how in a lot of screenwriting classes they would teach you that to get the audience excited, you need to have an action scene or some intense moment taking place within the first 5 minutes. And this is essentially like that, but in the first 5 seconds, it feels.
That's also a rule for books too, to be fair.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. What's also interesting to notice that because we got into the animation is that this is something that Dylan pointed out in terms of the nature of this series and its tie-in or lack thereof to the fact that everything is Lego. Dylan, do you want to tell the audience what you've told me?
I just noticed that the fact that they're Legos really has no bearing on anything in this show.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a weird sort of side detail, And in fact, the world itself doesn't even appear to be made of Legos. It's just Lego people walking around in a 2D animated world. And the fact that they're Lego doesn't play in at all, which is weird in comparison to other Lego properties. You look at those Lego video games or the Lego movies. The fact that they're made of Lego, and you take a bunch of random bricks and stick them together and make a new vehicle or something that's such a huge part of just about every other Lego property.
Mm-hmm.
That it's kind of weird in this show that they don't even address it. The show could just be called Monkey Kid. It doesn't need to be Lego at all.
Yeah. Now, another weird thing is that this also applies to the character designs themselves. Demon Bull King doesn't even look like he'd be a Lego. And then you have Princess Iron Fan, who has boobs.
Does she? Oh, I just noticed right now. Well, then again, if you look at a lot of say Lego Catwoman, they would at least draw them on that flat surface.
Boobs.
Okay.
It's sticking out.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone's got 3-dimensional outfits here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, all their outfits are 3-dimensional. Also, I have to bring this up. Did anyone else find it kind of racist they use the yellow Lego people for the
I mean,
maybe.
I didn't want to go there, but...
And again, yellow was the default Lego color for
True, but
50 years.
I mean, if you think about it, if you think back to the original Lego sets for Star Wars and Harry Potter, all the characters had yellow skin, but then eventually it came to a certain point where they decided to give everybody their respective flesh-colored skin, which makes me wonder what the original Lego Lando looked like. But in any case, they kind of did it when it came to the branded stuff. They kind of did away with the yellow skin, unless it's The Simpsons. But I guess whenever they have a solely Lego branded thing like Ninjago, they stick to the yellow skin minifigures.
There is something I didn't want to bring up again about the designs. It's actually a serious one.
Mm-hmm.
Did the animal characters kind of stick out compared to the human?
Yes, I remember Dylan brought up the same thing, where Pigsy, he's just a pig.
Yeah, even Monkey King, who still has the flat face, still sticks out just because he has a nose.
Yeah, that's true.
And Sandy, I don't think he even has those Lego hands. He's just a big blue dude. with the cat.
Oh yeah, the only thing like about him is he does have a nose and he has the eyes.
Yeah, I suppose everyone's got those blocky feet, but that's the only detail I can think of. That's like the feet and the hands, and the shape of the head, the hands, and the feet. But in certain
the
cases,
big characters don't have the Lego hands because it's supposed to be something called big figs or something like that, where they actually have fingers on them.
Right, that's true. Like minifigures like Hulk would have like molded fingers on their giant like grapple hands.
Yeah, but Demon Bull King doesn't even look like one of those. He looks like he sticks out from the rest of the series so badly.
They don't even move like Legos, you know. There's a lot of squatch and stretch going on.
Yeah, that's really surprising seeing this more rubbery animation for Legos.
Yeah, I remember when I was introducing this series to Dylan, he had the same reaction that I did. Where
you told me Lego Monkey Kid or whatever, I thought it was going to be like Lego, like CG animated like Lego people, you know,
right.
like a Ninjago.
Yeah, or like the recent like Lego DC movies.
Right. Or what's that show with the Lego people that look like Thundercats?
Legends of Chima.
Chimera or something like that.
Chima.
Yeah.
The series
in other words,
Thundercats?
Yeah. In other words, bootleg Lego Thundercats.
Yeah, bootleg Lego Thundercats. I was expecting, something like that. And
instead, you got Lego. You got Lego produced by Trigger.
Yeah.
And it was like, why did it even have to? It didn't have to be Lego. Like, why? What's happening here? You know, it's almost like Lego paid a Chinese animation company to do a Lego thing, and the Chinese company was just like, "Yeah, we're just gonna do whatever the fuck we want."
Yeah. Also, yeah. Actually, I'll wait until we get around to this topic. Go continue.
Okay, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, if it weren't for the fact that this whole entire series was meant to promote a toy line, then yeah, Legos would never even have factored into this in the first place.
Even the old He-Man cartoons were more subtle in design compared to this.
Also the most surprising thing is apparently this may be coming to the US at some point in time, but at the moment, despite being a fully English voiced series,
that's also. Mm-hmm. It's voiced by English people, but it aired in China.
Well, it had Chinese voice actors too.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the English version that we all watched started airing in June in both Malaysia and Singapore, which from my interactions with my students here in Japan, I've learned that Malaysia and Singapore are both very like foreigner friendly English language focused countries.
Oh, okay.
So it does make sense to me that they made an English version for that aired in these parts of in their neck of the woods, and both these countries have like connections to China. But then again, I was like, why did it air there first before America? But then again, it's Journey to the West, so of course, got to get as much money as you can out of the Asian markets.
Yeah, they did a similar thing for that Miraculous Ladybug thing.
That was a 3D French show, right?
What?
Was that a French animated series? Okay.
Yeah, it's a French animated series, but they produced like the English dub ahead of time, and they even had the mouths match the English lines.
Oh, okay then.
So they planned it for a English release, but that doesn't happen until like almost 2 years after the season ends.
In France?
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. I guess it's sort of like that, sort of like anime. You know, they air the entirety of it in Japan before broadcasting it on Toonami or whatever in the States.
Right.
Except this was a series produced by I'm assuming an American, or I know Lego is like a Dutch or German company, but I'm assuming this was produced by Americans. So I find it ironic that it was like produced by Americans, made for an English-speaking audience, but also appealing primarily to an Asian demographic.
It was financed by Dutch people, made for China, dubbed into English for Singapore. Why is this so confusing?
Yeah,
it's like fucking Interstellar 66 Interstellar 5555 all over again. It was a French band working with a Japanese with a Japanese animation company to produce English language musical.
That was probably seen in Singapore. See, it all goes back to Singapore.
But
yeah,
what really makes this weird, since they were primarily focusing on the Chinese audience, is especially with the humor in this.
What makes you say that?
I noticed several. You remember this, Andres? We noticed several weird internet meme jokes.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Yeah. I definitely remember that. This is
K, as they call him, straight up does the air horn sound at one point.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's definitely not a humor that they put it on in Chinese television.
Yeah, this definitely does have it's very indicative of the sort of very hyperactive, almost ADHD ridden type of entertainment that I've seen pop up occasionally from time to time, perhaps most infamously perhaps Teen Titans Go.
Or that Thundercats Roar, which just got canceled.
Did it now? Wow, that was almost
at least that's what I heard.
Oh, thank God.
What was another one? I'm trying to think of another very high. I guess the Rise of the TMT, from what I've seen, has that sort of approach to the writing.
It really does.
Okay,
I've actually watched quite a bit. That, for some reason, it got more serious in the last 2 episodes, which felt out of place compared to everything else.
It's we got it's the final boss time. We gotta put on our serious faces, boys. And yeah, this one definitely has a lot of those moments. Very rarely do they ever get serious or emotional, say for the pilot episode, the 6-eared macaque episode, which is aka Evil Monkey Kid, Evil Sun Wukong, and
the last one.
The last episode. the Vegeta of the series, and perhaps the episode that focused on May, are probably the handful of episodes where they kind of let the story breathe for a moment and actually get some pathos involved. But overall, the humor didn't bother me that much, and while the pacing did took me a while to adjust to, it wasn't that big of a detriment to where it hurt my experience overall of this. Didn't prevent me from enjoying the series, but I definitely would have liked some room for the story to breathe. And I really wish, I feel if this was a 30-minute, if this series was made for a 30-minute block as opposed to a 15-minute block, I think this series would improve so much more by having some more time for the stories to flesh out, because each episode tends to have our heroes encounter a new villain, a new obstacle, which they quickly got to overcome in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, because there are points in this where it's it's the parodies you see of anime from people who don't actually watch anime. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like in the Horton Hears a Who movie, when they very briefly did that whole anime thing, and it's the Speed Racer type, everybody's talking 50 miles an hour, and it just doesn't stop, and then
I said the anime stereotype that everyone believes all anime is.
So there were some episodes where after they were over, I was just like, Andres, what just happened?
They're like, Mr. Tang, Mr. Tang, you gotta help me. I made a bunch of clones and all the clones are going crazy. You gotta help me, Mr. Tang.
And then one of the clones turns into a fucking DJ, and then he starts with the fucking the urban gangster flavor type jokes, and he's fucking it's just crazy. It's absolutely bananas.
Now this is gonna sound weird. Does it feel like the series actually starts slowing down as it goes on? As in not as in bad way, but as in as in the tone of everything starts kind of slowing down a bit?
Yeah, I would say it depends on the episode, but for the most part, yeah.
Trying to think right now, like, I'd probably say around episode 7, what was it called? The Impossible Delivery, where the whole focus was on MK trying to be focused, and the problem is that he doesn't he's very easily distracted, which led to one of my favorite jokes in the series, where these kids they drop the ball and they're like, "Oh, mister, can you give us our ball back?" It's like, "No, you probably are a bunch of demons who would think that you're trying to distract me so I can play ball with you forever." And after he leaves, the demons are like, "Shit, how'd he know?"
My favorite scene in that is where it's like, focus on your surroundings. Creepy tree, creepy grass, skeleton. I'm gonna report to the police later.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. This show acknowledges death, and I was like, wow, you can still do that now?
That's not what blew my mind. What blew my mind is that Buddha exists in this.
Oh yeah, they like vaguely
Buddha in heaven.
Yeah, they vaguely acknowledge Buddha, where it's like, hey, didn't that one time you try to mess with that?
Yeah, in this exact episode, actually, where after Monkie was telling him, "I'm always focused," and Kid was telling him, "No, you're not. That's what gets you in a lot of your issues because of your strong-headedness. That's what made you start a fight with Buddha."
Right. But I guess like it was there, and then like there was the skeleton key episode, the macaque episode. By the way, it was really strange that the skeleton key felt like the first half of the finale, even though it's episode 8. Then episode 9 has like nothing to do with episode 8, and then at first I thought the episodes were out of order, and then episode 10 there's like a time skip in which MK comes back from his training from episode 9 to find things got a lot worse since episode 8. So that tells me that maybe at some point, episode 8 and 10 were supposed to be back-to-back, and had they had more time to flesh out that story, they could have shown shit getting serious, as opposed to MK going off the train for a bit, then coming back, and only to find everything got significantly worse.
How'd this all happen? I left you one of my boys. Oh yeah, he was a real help.
I kept expecting the spider to come back at some point.
Right, yeah. We were sad that the spider didn't come back. Like, I think the biggest missed opportunity was episode 6, the Great Wall Race. And at first we thought it was going to be like a wacky races sort of deal, which it kind of was, but we thought it was going to be like the racing episode of Teen Titans, where they just brought in literally every single villain from the series so far to have one big wacky races deal. Except here, it's just they teased the return. They brought back the gold and silver demons.
My favorite villains in this.
But they didn't. They were just there for like a gag, and they were there in the background. Meanwhile, it was just mainly a race between.
No, not really a gag. They played the narrate. They were the announcers for the whole race.
Right. But I thought that they were going to they were teasing like a wacky races deal, even though it was mainly just the same primary heroes and villains that we've seen up to this point.
Right.
No Spider Queen or anything like that. But who knows? Maybe in the next season we'll get the characters. Kind of like it's kind of like a Batman, the animated series, where you introduce some characters, they get one episode in the next season, and then maybe in the second or third season they'll get a follow-up episode or a big crossover episode with multiple villains.
That's also how Spider-Man worked too.
Right. That's also very true.
Normally, when that happens, though, you feel as though the story is complete the first time around, and it's like with the spider in this show. It felt like the first part of a two-parter. And I was like, oh, what's going to happen next episode? And then we started the next episode, and it had nothing to do with anything. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And then I kept waiting the rest of the time for the spider to come back, and she never did.
I think it kind of reminded me of, do you remember in My Life as a Teenage Robot, do either of you guys remember watching that show?
I remember.
Vaguely, yeah.
There was this one point where Jenny had a skin suit.
Oh, I know which one you're going to instantly.
Yeah, and then like the skin suit developed a mind of its own and tried to take over Jenny. And then after she got rid of it, it was shown that the human skin suit, was still alive and could come back for another episode. But I don't think it ever did come back.
That's
never
disturbing.
did.
Yeah, because it was like hinting at the fact that he could like possess other humans. Let's see. I also really liked, I guess we didn't go into the actual story, but I guess to briefly explain, this is essentially a very ambitious sequel to Journey to the West, where it's essentially Journey to the West, the next generation, in which the Monkey Kid passes off the title, the Monkey King passes off his title of, like, the protector of the world, which I don't think was the case in the original series.
No, he was not. In fact, Sun Wukong was seen as kind of a threat among the gods.
Right. He was less of a superhero and more of a chaotic force of neutralness.
Yeah, but it's very common in a lot of Chinese media to depict Sun Wukong as being more heroic and all that, despite the fact Sun Wukong was not a hero.
Right. So, like, for this series, they definitely played up the hero factor, him vanquishing evil, assumedly after the events of Journey to the West, and he ended up sealing his greatest villain, the Demon Bull King, or DBK as he's referred to in the series, and hundreds of years go by. We cut to the present day. MK, whose initials are never really revealed, but I'm assuming it's just Monkey Kid or whatever. And
they did make a joke on that.
Oh, really? Okay. So he's chosen as the next successor. He, King Arthur style, pulls out the Jingu Bang, the power pole, the giant red stick of death, of ass kickery, if you will, that used to belong to Sun Wukong. And it's now up to him and his group of friends to face off against the returning Demon Bull King and his army of cronies, while also facing off against several demons that previously appeared in Journey to the West.
I'm amazed how deep they went into the characters that they used.
Sorry, what was that, Dylan?
I was just going to say, you can't forget Demon Bull King's family, Rita Repulsa and Rurouni Kinship.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that's not true. She's not Rita Repulsa because her breasts seem more natural compared to Rita's. And less pointed.
Although, funny enough, for a Lego character, you would expect them to be more pointed. What were you going to say? What were you? Please continue what you were going to say, Will.
I was going to say, I'm amazed at how deep they went into, like, both character depictions and the characters they used, like the Demon Brothers. They were very minor in the story, and technically they weren't even demons. It got weird. But it just blew my mind that they used characters like it, the Spider Queen and the villain alluding to at the end.
Yeah, that's definitely very true. I was pleasantly surprised. Like, when you told me that they were making some deep pulls in the Journey to the West lore, I was very eager to see what they would do. And for the first couple episodes, they focused more on MK's new Sun Wukong powers, such as his invulnerability, his ability to make clones of himself from strands of his hair. And it's funny because I knew all this stuff because I edited your books with your version of Sun Wukong, aka the best version, having all these exact same powers. And of all the characters, it's also like, at first I thought, it was just going to be DBK and MK's group of friends. But no, it's like, it was cool seeing like more and more characters show up to further reference it. It's kind of like the exact opposite kind of situation to a show like Sonic Boom, where it's always the same protagonist, always facing off against Dr. Eggman. It's always like the same.
From time to time, you get Shadow or Metal Sonic.
Right, but for the most part, it's just like the same 7 characters every time. So it was great seeing like the main villains take a backseat to some new one-off villains from Journey to the West.
Oh, I did want to mention this because this really made me happy. The fact that they used Red Sun or Red Boy as he was in Journey to the West.
Right. And
no one ever used him in a lot of the Journey to the West movies and all that. That was true. Yeah, and keep in mind, there's like 6 adaptations of Journey to the West a year in China.
Makes sense.
And almost none of them use Red Boy as a character.
makes me wonder. It's like, with that many adaptations, what do most Chinese audiences consider to be the definitive adaptation at this point?
That is an excellent question. I'd probably say it would be the Monkey King movies.
Okay, I bet you there's like 20 movies all called Monkey King.
No, surprisingly, only 3.
But what about the Christmas movie, Will?
Well, that, I just don't know what to say to that. I'm still trying to figure out how that works, considering that means Jesus exists in Journey to the West.
I don't think I've ever told you this, Dylan. So, I was on a Chinese airline, and I was on a flight to America, and I was going through their selection of movies to watch, and it turns out there was like a Sun Wukong Christmas special, and I never watched it, but I just took a snapshot, and before the plane took off, I had enough, still had enough Wi-Fi or access to send that as like my last message before taking off into the air to Will. It's like, Will, look at this! Look what I found!
And he left me with that, and I had so many questions.
I didn't even know they had Christmas in China.
That's what I was saying. That implies Jesus exists in Journey to the West. This is more confusing than the Flintstones celebrating Christmas.
It's like this is gonna be the next record of Ragnarok. It's Jesus versus Sun Wukong.
That'd be awesome.
You know what that means? You gotta do this before they do in God's wrath.
Well, I have them both already.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you do have a version of Jesus in there.
Right.
Let's see. And they did technically interacted in the second book. So if you want to find out more about that, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to pick up God's Wrath Tournament of the Divine, book 1 and 2, available on Kindle and paperback on Amazon.
I have many amazing facts about mythology in the book. Did you know Sun Wukong's a woman?
With titties?
And all of this is
Not like
fine.
Susanoo's, though. So, yes, Susanoo from Shinto mythology is also a woman, and a lesbian, and a drunk.
With even bigger titties.
And all of this is fine as long as he doesn't draw Muhammad.
Oh no, I don't go that far. I don't go there.
You're willing to go with big tittied lesbian Susanoo, but Muhammad is where you draw the line.
Hey, look! I already stretched the bar going with Hindu gods too.
Ooh.
I've never
Is
seen
any
any
controversy in those
radical.
start?
I've never seen any radical Susanoo terrorists running around. So
I don't see a bunch of Japanese. I don't see a bunch of Japanese people swinging swords around trying to kill me named Susanoo.
That's a funny thing. Like, side note,
Shinto are they're pretty chill people by the rule.
So that's like Buddhists getting angry at me for how I depicted Sun Wukong.
It's like, well, you know what? In that case, you gotta talk to our friend Sean Barry. He's Buddhist. You gotta show him, see if you can get his approval. But what was it? Side note. There are actually a surprisingly lack of modern Shintoists in Japan. Everyone's either like agnostic or Buddhist, or they're Buddhist but they don't really practice. They're just taught to the Buddhist traditions, but they're for the most part agnostic. They're like, whatever, we don't really care. We're just doing this out of tradition. We don't actually believe this stuff. Maybe not.
What are you, gay?
I'm also part of the Church of Agnostic. May God be with you, maybe. I don't know.
Ironic, coming from a man who writes about gods.
Well, yeah, of course I have to be superstitious.
But then again, it's for someone who may be agnostic, they're like, I don't care. I'm just going to treat them as my playground. Anyways, one thing I did want to bring up about the characters is that, so we have MK, who is obviously the stand-in for the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, and every other character is a proxy to a character from Journey to the West, going so far as for some of them to have the majority of them actually, to have the exact same westernized translated name. We got
Actually, those were their nicknames. Those were their earthly nicknames.
Okay. So we had like Sandy, what was he like the desert demon?
The lake demon.
The lake demon. Yes, opposite. So we had Sandy the lake demon, who is Sandy the big blue guy, who they still haven't explained him.
Yeah, the funny thing is his design looks very similar to how Sandy looked in the Monkey King movies.
Okay. I'm assuming that, like, I wonder if this is where, like, Piccolo was inspired by?
It reminded me more of Yamcha, but maybe that was just because of the cat.
Actually, there was a character that was clearly based off Yamcha, but I forgot who it was. It's gonna bother me.
Was it
I
like
do know who Tien was inspired by.
Tien. Oh, who was he inspired by?
There was a three-eyed warrior from heaven that was considered Sun Wukong's rival.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and they clearly changed that in Dragon Ball Z.
What else? We had Pigsy, who is
Goku goes through rivals like most people go through fucking underwear. You know what I mean? There's them for a while, and then they get a hole in them, and he goes, "All right, next."
Reminds me of that, like, what was it? Like the counseling that Team 4-Star did, where Vegeta got pissed that Goku's been having another rival behind his back.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He just does things, you know.
There is Pigsy, who is a pig man, and I guess there's like pig men are just a thing in this universe because we see one other person. Both of them have rival ramen shops, and I was actually concerned when it came to Pigsy because one thing about Pigsy in the story, he was much of a pervert. That's why he was turned into a pig. Right. He kind of in the original myth, he embodies. Sorry, I was going to say in the original myth, he kind of embodies all the traits that we associate when we call someone a pig. Right.
But from the Spider Queen episode, he does show that he's kind of flirty towards women.
Right. He's definitely got
a bit of a I am happy about that, and I do love the character. I do love his character.
Oh yeah, he might potentially be my favorite character in the series.
Yeah. Now Sandy, he's pretty close to how he was. Sandy was always kind of the middleman in the group. He was the kinder one.
Yeah, like the typical, like, archetypical gentle giant of the bunch.
Yeah, and of course he lives in a houseboat.
Which is cool.
Because he's a lake demon.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I didn't think about that. And like I forgot to mention, there's occasions where we get some kind of machinery where it's like you get one thing that transforms into another thing, or there's like a hidden vehicle inside a bigger vehicle.
Apparently the Jingu Bang can build things.
Yes, like the giant robot. So it's those points where it does feel the most Lego-like, because they actually adapted those into Lego sets, but they still don't look like Legos.
Right.
Like
they don't have like the lines or anything that indicate that they're Legos.
Right. They don't have like you don't see the individual blocks combining to form a giant robot. Rather, you just see random pieces of generic machinery to make the giant robot.
Right.
Also, what is that weird fighting game that they're playing at two different points during the show? You remember that?
Yeah. It was like
they called it Monkey Mech.
Monkey Mech, really? Okay.
Well, one of the games was called Monkey Mech, so I just assumed that's what it was.
And it was like a dragon character fighting a monkey Sun Wukong character. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up turning that into an actual game, like when Disney made like a working version of Fix-It Felix Jr. when Wreck-It Ralph came out. And then what was it? We have May. May is apparently the reincarnation of the dragon horse. Yeah, that was
the most minor character in Journey to the West.
Right, and they turned her into like the second most important character after MK.
Yeah, but I'm happy. I'm happy they actually gave that character some recognition.
Yeah.
And a lot of people tend to forget the horse was actually a character and was a dragon.
How does the writer forget that his horse was a dragon?
Yeah, and also it started out very powerful too when they first introduced him, and then they don't use him again. He only fought like once and then disappeared.
Right, it's
not disappeared. He just stayed as a horse.
It's like, hey, are you gonna help us? Fuck you. I don't feel like fighting these days.
No, what's weird is in one scene, Red Sun referred to May as Dragon Horse Girl. I don't know why he called her that, considering she showed no traits of either being the horse aspect.
They never even addressed the horse thing.
Right, just the dragon. I guess like she rides a motorcycle, which
I say only if you read Journey to the West, would you know this. Granted,
That's
Chinese
right.
audience, everyone knows what Journey to the West is. They know everything about it. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think that at one point you see Tang on the horse when you see like the comparison between the old team and their team. So you do see the horse at one point, and they jokingly have modern Tang sitting on Mei.
Yeah,
struggling
now,
to keep him up.
I'm gonna say is probably the least accurate.
With Tang, I don't know. They feel like they do the least amount of stuff with him.
Yeah, he's intelligent, and all that, but he doesn't feel like the mentor to Sun Wukong like in the original Tang was.
Well, like MK, he does look up to him for advice, especially whenever in times of desperation. Seeing him as like the knowledge of all of mythology. He's essentially, this is gonna be a pull from your book. He's the Virgil Knight of this series. He's a mythologist.
Yeah.
And there are some amusing moments with him, but
him and Pixie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got a running gag going on where he's trying to get a free meal from Pixie's ramen shop. But I don't know. Yeah, for me, he's probably like the least interesting of the group for me personally. As for who he is, like what the original Tang was based off of, like obviously I'm like.
The actual lead in Journey to the West.
Right. Surprisingly, the real main character of the show of the story.
Zhang.
Wan Zhang, yeah. So like what was it? So like what was it? Sandy might be Piccolo, perhaps. Pixie's
Krillin,
obviously...
I'm guessing is Wan Zhang.
Yeah. Krillin's the closest I'd say. A combination of Krillin and Bulma, I would say, are the closest to Tang. What was it? Obviously, Oolong is Pixie. And
what?
And for Mei, the horse. No, that's like the most difficult one because there's not a lot.
The little motorcycle thing Bulma drove.
She's Shinron.
I guess it's Shinron.
Oh yeah, no, Shinron would be Ao Gong, one of the Dragon Kings.
Oh yeah, the one that gave Sun Wukong the power pole.
Well, not gave. Sun threatened him.
He's like, I'm gonna take this whether you like it or not.
Yep, took the Jingu Bang and then threatened for more weapons.
And it's like, no, that is the big weapon. It's like.
Yeah, again, Sun Wukong was not a hero in the story.
Yeah, give me your fucking shit. It's like, well, see that stick in your hand? Yeah, that is the best shit of all. Really? Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket. Can't believe he bought that.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Another thing they actually mentioned in this was the Peaches of Immortality.
Oh, yeah, that was another deep pull. I wouldn't have known any about that. I wouldn't know, like 90% of my Journeys to the West knowledge if it weren't for Overly Sarcastic Productions retrospective on Journeys to the West, which I highly recommend. All of the three of us have watched that series, and do give it a watch, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, I wouldn't have known about the Peaches thing if it weren't for that. And they even made a joke where it's like, where you can eat those and you become immortal. And at one point, MK questioned why Sun Wukong would originally eat the Peaches if he's already immortal, which was a thing that
Pixie did.
Pixie, yeah. And then Overly Sarcastic Production mentions was like, oh, so yeah, he's doubly immortal, triply immortal, quadruply immortal. So yeah, that's another. Yeah, that was from the racing episode. So that was another great reference there.
But now I'm curious. They didn't explain though why they should have same names as Monkey King's original team.
Right. So like for Mei, they established that her family is a descended from that dragon, which
actually they described it being the descendant of the Dragon King of the West, I believe.
Okay.
Also, that's where the Avatar comparison I read came from. When they said it's like the lion turtle things from Avatar: Last Airbender. and I almost wanted to find someone to hit them.
With a big red stick.
Yes.
So I do wonder, like, if they're descended from dragons, at what point did the dragons turn into people and then started a human family? But I suppose if the dragon can turn into a horse, I suppose they can turn into dragons also.
Yeah, I just assume they shapeshifted.
Right. So, like, they made she's the only one where they made a clear-cut connection to...
Haven't you ever seen American Dragon Jake Long? A dragon can become a person.
How foolish.
And they sound like Zuko.
Right! Oh my god, you're right. It was the same voice actor.
They let that haunt you.
Now I cannot take Zuko seriously ever again.
Yo, dog. Yeah, imagine Zuko saying that.
Mac Daddy, what was it? The Mac Daddy of the NYC or whatever the hell.
The writers didn't know what era they were writing for.
I just want somebody to take a bunch of clips now from Avatar and just replace all of them with mine. With just shit from American Dragon Jake Long. It's like, yo.
So they explain May's connection, but the fact that you have Tang, Pigsy, and Sandy, all of which supposedly sound like the original team, and on top of that, they also have the same names as the characters from the original team. So I'm wondering, are they supposed to be like the original characters from that story, or are they like the reincarnations of those characters from that original story? Or if not, where did those original characters go to afterwards?
Well, they did show the original team that existed.
Yes.
They did show that they existed.
They did exist, yeah, but we don't know if these individuals are the same people.
But
or
another thing you should notice, when they shown that, they also shown all the villains that Sun Wukong fought against, and two of them were the Demon Brothers.
I didn't realize that in the first episode, in the pilot.
I'm not sure if maybe they are reincarnations. I'm not sure these are the same demons, because they don't really mention that.
No, I feel like they did. Well, in this case of the Spider Queen, she's definitely supposed to be the same character.
Yeah.
Like these demons. I'm assuming that's the same case for the Demon Brothers, where they've just been in hiding all this time, and now they decide the time's right to rise. After 10,000 years, they're free.
Wouldn't that make more sense for Princess Iron Fan to say?
Right, or Demon Bull King.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Demon Bull King's entrance was pretty intense, especially when he was saying flesh, bone, I'm free, and all that.
Right.
Yeah,
he definitely played a very good character. He was definitely a very good villain in this case.
In the pilot, the special, whatever you want to call it. But throughout the rest of the series, I thought he was kind of a letdown, to be honest.
I can see that. Yeah, he definitely was like took a lot of. He spent most of the season just sort of like biding his time, occasionally coming outside just to dick around, but mostly his son was doing most of the action up until the very end, where he ends up doing something at the end, only to end up being possessed by some otherworldly force. So technically, that they weren't really fighting him so much; they were fighting the thing he was uncovering for like half a season.
Now, actually, I do want to say this. I did really like the fact that Red Sun was more of MK's villain than Demon Bull King, because like Demon Bull King would be Sun's villain, and Red Sun would be MK's villain, because MK is the disciple of.
You got something there. What were we gonna say?
Kind of like a second generation thing.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I felt like they kind of built up to the Demon Bull King a little bit in the first episode. I was like, if they ever remove the pole, then he'll be released, and then we're all doomed. Mm-hmm. And then he shows up, and he's a pretty big threat for that first story. But then after that, he doesn't really do much for the majority of the season. He's just buying shoes or whatever he was doing in the next episode.
I would like it if they sort of maybe they did something along the lines of like Transformers Animated's first season, where Megatron fights the Autobots very early on, but then he's like so significantly damaged that for a good chunk of the first season he's in hiding, biding his time until he can make his grand reappearance. after recovering through all that time.
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
Now about the shoe thing, I do want to say this. I actually did like the power that Red Sun gave DBK, where the more valuable the object, the more powerful he gets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a neat power up, but it's a shame that he never really used it again after that special.
Yeah, but I think I want to explain how far it will go and what's considered valuable, because they use shoes. They use limited edition shoes as an example.
I suppose that's meant to be the comedies from the series.
Yeah, no, but I just want to know, like, would a cleaner piece of garbage be more valuable than the dirtiest piece?
I'll just say yes, always.
But next character I'm guessing we'll be talking about is Monkey King.
Ah, yes, Monkey King, yeah. So he was definitely a lot of fun to watch, and it was also neat to have... Oh, wait, before we did that, I forgot to mention that Demon Bull King is voiced by Steve Blum, as we mentioned earlier before. And I instantly picked up that it was Steve Blum because he tends to have like a very hearty, a very throaty...
a Wolverine voice.
Yeah, he's got like a throaty roar that he uses, growly roar that he uses, like I said, like he did for Wolverine. What?
Yeah, see, it's not always that though. Sometimes he does voices you don't even know it's him, like Guillemon.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, he was Guillemon from Digimon Tamers.
Yeah, that's gonna blows your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, dude has surprising amount of range. He doesn't always do Wolverine and Roger Smith.
But that's like the voice that people know, and that's what they like to hear.
True.
Now he just plays characters that need that voice.
Right. And as for the voice actor for Monkey King, it was really nice to actually see. It felt like a no-brainer. They got Sean Schemmel, the voice of Goku, to do Sun Wukong. And
Sean Schemmel has a wide range from Goku to no one else.
Aww.
Am I wrong?
I guess it's what happens. You know, it happened to Peter Cullen. It's happened to Kevin Conroy. They're just stuck doing this one character for the rest of their lives. But hey, if it means a consistent paycheck, who am I to criticize?
As soon as I saw it,
I can definitely hear the difference though between this and Goku, because he puts on a certain, I guess, inflection would be the right word when he plays.
Here.
He's like, "Hi, I'm Goku." Like, he raises his voice a little bit more, whereas when he's playing Sun Wukong in this, it's just Sean Schemmel voice, just like regular, like you're listening to like an interview with Sean Schemmel, and he's like bagging on DBZ Abridged, like that Sean Schemmel voice, as opposed to the like, "Hi, I'm Goku," blah blah blah.
Hey guys, I'm Goku.
Now, what's funny is, Andres, you were saying that you were pleasantly surprised by this. I knew it was going to be Sean Schemmel because whenever Sun Wukong's depicted in something, it's always Sean Schemmel.
Really?
Because he voiced Goku. Yep, that video game Smite, he voices Sun Wukong in that.
Oh, okay. I barely know what Smite is.
It's like it's like in Batman TAS when Bruce puts on his Bruce voice and when he puts on his Batman voice, and it's like the same voice.
Yeah.
But it's just one is a little bit more, he's putting a little bullshit in there, he's playing it up a little bit for, to pretend to be a playboy or whatever. Like that's basically the difference between Goku voice in this.
Now, one thing I did want to mention when it came to Monkey King here, what I loved is, how they never refer to him as Sun Wukong, and whenever it is, you always hear a whisper. And MK didn't know what that name was when Demon Bull King called him that.
That was strange, yeah.
Yeah, that's referencing the Journey to the West, because Monkey King was again the earthly title. Sun Wukong was the heavenly title.
Oh, okay.
Well, Monkey was the earthly title.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yep, I thought that was a neat little spin there, because not many people actually do that.
Right, so in this universe, everyone just knows him as the Monkey King.
Yeah, but not as Sun Wukong. That's something only the gods knew.
Uh-huh. Okay.
They just know him as Monkey, Andres.
Monkey. That's true. After all, the English title to the 70s Japanese Journey to the West series was simply titled Monkey.
But accuracy-wise, pretty accurate. Sun Wukong was depicted as often lazy and playful.
And this is a version of Sun Wukong who had already achieved what would you call like peace and tranquility. He's ascended to peak Buddhism. This is a person who there's a reason why he's the mentor in all this, because he's reached his peak, and he's done. He's retired. He's done with fighting. He's ready to pass the baton, like I said, pass the role of protector to the next generation. Totally an un-Goku move, which it's so you could have easily, because of how popular Dragon Ball is, you could have easily just characterized him as Goku, but I'm glad they didn't. This is a version you'll never see Goku actually retire. Goku's gonna go down fighting no matter what.
It's interesting. That's a version of Goku who's like a smartass,
That's why I kept on saying when it comes to Sun Wukong, nothing like Goku. Sun Wukong is lazy, sarcastic, playful, and actually will defend someone.
And wise. This is essentially like the older, more mature, enlightened version of Sun Wukong.
I wouldn't say mature.
In ways.
But he is hilarious, and one of my favorite lines is in the episode of him teaching MK to focus, where he's the one that ordered the food, and MK is like, this is all a challenge, so you can teach me how to focus. Yeah, totally. I didn't want to just eat noodles at my shame temple.
Right. And the one time that he actually did get to fight again was with the six-eared macaque, and that might be my favorite episode from this entire series, not counting the pilot special, where I felt like this episode, along with the May episode, had the most time to breathe, and it was really cool seeing a sort of conflict of philosophies between Sun Wukong and six-eared macaque, which I wasn't even aware that there were other like special monkeys out there besides Sun Wukong, the stone monkey. And
I do know there was actually a female monkey demon mentioned as being part of the brotherhood that Sun and Demon Bull King were part of.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
Let me guess. Is she going to be male in your version?
I didn't think of that. That'd be genius. The whole reason people thought Sun was a man in my story was because in her original body, she looked like a man.
Because she just looked like a monkey.
Yeah, she looked like a monkey. And
she
you
was
can't
just,
tell what
she was
gender
just
a monkey
big
is.
monkey.
They might have gone out there and looking under the monkey skirts.
Yeah, but Macaque I thought was one of the coolest characters in this series.
Yes. I was hoping that he was voiced by who is Vegeta's voice actor?
Chris Sabat?
Yeah, it's Chris Sabat.
No, you got Josuke.
Oh shit, that was Josuke?
Yep, that was the English voice for Josuke.
Oh fuck! I didn't know that was him.
And Sandy was voiced by Dio.
Oh my god! Oh, that is amazing to hear. I had no idea that six-eared macaque was played by him. I tried looking up that voice actor, but I just couldn't find, like, what was it? I'm trying to look right here on the wiki of what this voice actor had done.
He's relatively new. I think the first big role he did was Josuke.
Really? Okay, well that's one hell of a role to land. But what was his name? Billy Kamitz.
Yeah,
according to this guy here.
But with Macaque, one thing I really liked was his giant transformation.
Right. Yeah.
Because that looked nothing like a Lego at all.
True. We also got a brilliant Yamcha reference here.
Oh yeah, dead Yamcha pose twice.
That was great.
Oh, okay. So I found him. So he was the voice of the protagonist from Rising of the Shield Hero.
Oh yeah.
And what else? He was also a minor character in the 2019 redub of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
He also plays the white blood cell in that Cells at Work.
Okay. Yeah, so this guy's definitely been around.
Yeah, but
when you said white blood cell, I thought you were about to say that he was in Osmosis Jones.
Yeah, he was Dylan. He was the white blood cell.
But
movie.
I never actually liked the giant form, because that's another reference to Journey to the West, but that was more Sun's power, because Sun was able to turn into a giant ape-like creature.
Right. So that was that. Yeah.
Curious, like Superman syndrome. It just feels like every chapter they're just like, and here's another power he has. Now he can shoot a tiny Superman out of his hand. Now.
Oh, no, that's not the weird superpower. What one power is obviously, well, Sun's immortal. So Sun got his head cut off in the original story, and it was a part of a challenge to prove who's truly immortal. The head was supposed to come back, but the villain of that chapter knocked the head into the ocean. So what did Sun do? Grew another head.
He has head healing powers.
It just popped back out.
As you do in that situation. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, we're trying to reattach it, fucking pussy.
Just gotta grow another head.
Yeah, what are you trying to do? Pull a Deadpool here? Nah, you don't need to put on another head. Just grow another one.
Yeah. And it wasn't described as being a gross regrowing a head. It just popped back out like a turtle.
And what was it? Oh yeah, so I did mention that six-eared macaque. Funny enough, despite being called the six-eared macaque, he doesn't have this Lego version doesn't have 6 ears. I was disappointed. I was lied to.
It's probably under the shirt. You don't know.
I don't know, man. I see 2 big ears just popping out of his head.
He's got ears in places you ain't never seen.
Potentially, yeah. But yeah, it was really cool seeing him and his fight. It was cool seeing MK kind of skewer, kind of like pulled towards the dark side.
It's also cool to see Sun actually fighting in this.
Absolutely, yes. That was really cool. And yeah, it was really interesting sort of personal struggle, and it was nice seeing a rising conflict between student and teacher. And ultimately showing why Sun's methods worked over 6-eared macaques.
Yep. Should we talk about the rest of the Demon Bull family?
Sure, yeah, okay. I mean, we talked about Red Sun, so I guess the only person we haven't talked about is late.
Yeah, we didn't talk much about Red Sun. I just said that they actually had him.
Right. Well, I do like that he's very Invader Zim in that he's just someone who just gets really into his line of work. He's very over the top in all the right ways.
Now, Red Sun is actually pretty accurate to the story, because Red Sun was very loyal to his father and very much enjoyed being praised and doing anything for the father. But in the story, Demon Bull King was a lot better of a father, to the point he wouldn't forget his own son's birthday.
Mm-hmm. And in this version, he could care less about his son.
Well, yeah, he's a villain. He has to be a dick.
That is true. And like he's doing anything he can to get his father's approval.
Yeah. Right.
He's going so far as to challenge MK and his team most of the time.
Now, what really blows my mind here is there's been a lot of depictions of Demon Bull King and Princess Iron Fan, but this is the only time where they were not only are they actually married, they actually had a child together, like in the story.
So how do most versions of Journey to the West do
One that comes to mind is that remember the Archie Sonic comics?
Yes.
They actually had a version of Demon Bull King and Princess Iron Fan and a version of Sun Wukong.
Huh.
And they weren't actually married in that because they didn't want a human married to a bull creature, and I couldn't help but say, but that's what happened.
Yeah, I don't. If you think too hard about Red Sun's conception, it boggles your mind, because Demon Bull King is at least 3 stories tall, and poor Bandora is only normal size.
Look, Princess Iron Fan does a lot of yoga. Also, why is she still a princess? She is married to a king.
That is true, yeah. Maybe she's really holding on to whatever's left of her original lineage. Maybe she just doesn't want to let go of that Iron Fan title.
Yeah.
As for conception, I gotta say, man, size don't matter. It's how you use it, all right?
Are we talking about Princess Iron Fan or Demon Bull King?
I'll let you decide.
But now, Princess Iron Fan, I'm really happy that that actually made her a genuine threat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she seems equally as powerful. Go ahead.
Yeah, all three villains, she seems the most competent.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like. Go ahead.
Because Red Sun is kind of an idiot, and Demon Bull King tends to, be a little over. I don't know if overzealous is the right word, but he sort of will let his temper get the best of him, and he'll
very quick to anger, act before thinking. Both of them are very hot-headed, figuratively and literally.
That Bull King, he sees red and he just runs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as Iron Fan, she seems like the most calculated, the most like she has her shit together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I just realized Demon Bull King in this technically has PTSD.
I forgot. In which sense?
In the pilot episode where MK was about to travel under the mountain, and also the racing episode where he tried going through the mountain, and his wife and Prince Iron Fan made a joke about that.
Oh right, yeah. He was like, "No, I don't want to be under that another mountain again." It's like they played up as a joke, but it's like, oh, you're right. He is psychologically scarred from mountains.
Which is funny because in Journey to the West, that's what Sun Wukong had.
It's also like in Dragon Ball when they try to use the Mafuba on Demon King Piccolo again. Demon King Piccolo is very much not about it.
Oh yeah, maybe Piccolo was actually a Demon Bull King. Oh no, that would be Ox King.
No, that was Chi-Chi's dad.
Yeah,
he was literally he was literally like the Ox King, yeah, which is
that was another name for the Demon Bull King.
Right, Ox Bull, same difference.
Oh, that means Chi-Chi's red son.
Ew.
She's a weird. Isn't she like a weird mixture of Red Sun and Princess Iron Fan?
Yeah.
God, that's weird.
First time I filmed it.
So Princess Iron Fan, Princess Red Iron Sun Fan,
or boy, Red Iron
boy, married Sun Wukong and had a child.
God, that's weird.
I'm scared. I'm going home. I'm scared. I'm moving on.
But we need to talk about probably the best villains in this whole series, the most compelling, the Demon Brothers, Jin and Yin.
I really did like their introductory episode when they had MK trapped in that drum or whatever. What was it? Or it was like
it was their version of the Mafuba.
Yeah. Now, another funny thing is that that item was in the chapter where these characters were introduced in.
Huh.
And it pretty much did the same thing, except when you're trapped inside, you're supposed to melt from the acid that's inside. I'm guessing that they wanted to keep a child-friendly tone. They didn't want that.
Especially since the episode opens with him already inside of it. So they couldn't open the episode like, hey, why am I melting from acid?
Yeah, but I love them. I love these two because they remind me of Team Rocket.
They are very Team Rocket.
Yeah, the lovable losers that always think they're a bigger deal than they actually are.
Very true, yeah.
And also, they kind of remind me of the Underpants Gnomes from South Park, just because when they were describing their plan. Step one, trap them here. Step two, make them believe this is real. But put that in progress. Step three, that's it.
I do remember that. It was like I did make that same joke to Dillion when we were watching it. I was like, step one, do whatever. Step two, step three, profit. And I was this is also another conversation Dillion and I had when it came to like the idea of using British accents on obviously Chinese characters.
Yeah, that was weird to me, but at the same time, it works so well for them.
those first came up with May's father, who spoke with like a proper British gentleman voice, yes. And then we had the Demon Brothers, where they talk with the Cockney accent. And I think
this is something I've realized. Media has raised me to believe that there are only 2 British accents, and in reality, there are way more than that.
Yeah.
But in any kind of media, it's only ever like the Queen's English or a Dickensian nightmare. It's always either like, oh yes, jolly good, very good, yes, quite, or it's like, hello.
He talked like the chimney speak voice, that chimney language.
Also, we tend to forget that the Demon Brothers were also shippers.
What are shippers?
You know, shippers, that way you ship 2 fictional characters and all that?
Right, but
They were
trying out the MK and May.
oh, yeah! That was interesting. Just like, it kind of made me realize, oh yeah, this is like one of those very few times where you have a male and female character who are just platonically friends.
So far, Andres.
Oh my god.
Wait until Monkey becomes a monkey teen, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, after years of Steven Universe, I'm just amazed seeing a man and a woman talk to each other in cartoons.
Oh. What was it? I've totally lost my... Oh yeah, train of thought. I remember now. So it's like, this reminded me of, going back to Overly Sarcastic Productions videos. They made a video on like, I think it was voices, no, accents. It was on, what was it called? Trope Talk. And they were covering up accents, talking about how like over the centuries we've used various different voices as sort of like a way of a means of communicating what type of character or what kind of personality certain characters embody. So to use like to show that someone is very, very formal, they use the gentleman's accent. To show that someone is stupid, they use the Cockney accent. Whenever someone's like a very tough, brutish guy, they'll use the Scotsman accent or an Irish accent. Various forms of shorthand language. Yeah, they use different accents as shorthand language to depict the certain demeanors for the audience to quickly understand who these people are, which is a reason why in a lot of like historical dramas and epics, a lot of characters from ancient Greece or Rome or Egypt, they all tend to have British accents.
I just thought the word was British at one point, then they just grew out of it.
Or why, like, Gimli speaks with I think it was a Scottish accent, or why everyone else speaks British English. It was British accents. So yeah, it was kind of interesting seeing that reflected here, although it's kind of more obvious, it stuck out more obvious to us because everyone is supposedly Chinese.
Yeah, now
that might be a dwarf thing in the Lord of the Rings movies, though. I think all the dwarves.
Oh yeah, that was a dwarf thing. When
yes.
they had the more Irish Scottish accents.
Later on, when they did the Hobbit movies, there's that line where Gloin is when they're being captured by the elves in Mirkwood, and Legolas sees that picture that Gloin has. And he goes, "What is this creature?" And Gloin goes, "That's my wee lad Gimli."
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to... I'm sorry, go ahead.
In the actual lore, Gimli would have actually been like 50 or 60 years old during those events, but whatever.
But when it comes to accuracy for the Demon Brothers, probably the most inaccurate depiction of the characters, because their story in the actual story is very confusing. Whether or not actually demons, they were like gods who believed they were demons, which is weird because they apparently had a demon mother. So
they're half demons.
I don't really know. They didn't really. A lot of these characters, they didn't go too deep into detail for them because they were kind of just the one-off characters in the original stories.
Imagine being a god and thinking you're a demon. Like what a lowering of expectations. For
well, to be fair, Pigsy was a god, but then they turned him into a demon because he was a pervert.
Or imagine thinking that you're a demon, but turns out you're just an alien slug.
True.
Haven't we all been there, Andres?
Yeah. And then you realize, oh, that they don't have a penis, because a lot of demons do have a penis, and they're very big on that. Not Piccolo.
Oh no. And what was the other thing? Yeah, this is something that, like, as I was researching where these characters came from on Wikipedia, while we were watching the series, I remember Dylan made the funny comment where it's like, essentially all these characters have like are either a king or a queen in their title. Spider
that
Queen,
is true.
Golden Demon King, Silver Demon King, Demon Bull King.
Like, all of these guys can't have monarchies. Like, this is not. There's no way.
I'm assuming like the original author is like, how do I make this guy seem threatening?
But to be fair, though, they weren't kings of amazing things. Like, Sun was king of monkeys.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be that hard to be. I mean, he essentially climbed a waterfall to be called the Monkey King.
Yeah.
You're the Demon Bull King. Does that mean that you're a demon who is the king of bulls, or does that mean that there's a race of demon bulls? You are the king of those demon bulls.
Well, they're a race of demon monkeys, so I assumed they'd be a race of demon bulls.
Wait, they're demon monkeys? I thought they were regular monkeys.
Yeah, remember I told you that was a female demon monkey that was part of their brotherhood.
Oh, you're talking about the four monkeys. Okay, I thought you were referring to.
No, I'm assuming there are others.
I mean, I mean, there's got to be a reason why this Sun Wukong in particular is the size of a man and can talk and shit. They never really go into why Monkey King is so big for a monkey, don't they?
Okay, very healthy, Andre.
Well, to be fair, Sun Wukong was just
Wheaties.
To be fair, in the story, Sun Wukong was just born. He hatched from a rock into a stone egg, then hatched from that. Well, stood on his hind legs as a baby with intelligence of a grown man. Bowed, shot lasers from his eyes, scared the Jade Emperor.
Like you do on your date of birth.
He's that size because he was played by Roddy McDowell in makeup. That's
that explains everything.
Fun fact about the laser eyes: they never talk about it again. That happened
weird.
once.
If I could shoot lasers out of my eyes, I would be doing that shit all the time.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to stop me from shooting lasers out of my eyes.
I forgot. Did he ever shoot lasers out of his eyes in either MK or Sun Wukong in this series?
Nope.
Oh,
it's a very minor detail, but it is kind of the reason why the Jade Emperor didn't like Sun Wukong.
Right, he was like, imagine being up in heaven and then two lasers just like shoot through your living room and you're like, fuck!
Yeah, well, think about it this way. Jade Emperor was very feared, was a very mighty god. Laser shot up, scared him a bit in front of his people.
Business fans, I bet. Yeah.
I think the only character left is the Spider Queen.
Yeah, she spoke. Like we had a little bit of a debate as to what accent they were going for with her. Like Dylan thought she was going with like a southern black woman's voice, but I thought it was like more of like a Southern Belle, Louisiana Bayou type of voice.
I'd say Louisiana.
To be fair, they're close, depending on.
True, yeah, especially if you're like in that Alabama sort of area, Arkansas area. Let's see. But other than that, she had a really good episode. She was perhaps like the after the Macaque and Demon Bull King and some gang, I'd say she was a very compelling villainess for me. Probably because she was the only other female villain we had in the series aside from Princess Ironfan.
Yeah, and also she had boobs in her human form. She did.
That is also true. Yes.
And I'm like I said, it's weird seeing Lego characters with like figures.
Spider form too.
Oh yeah, Spider form, right?
Yeah. And let's see. I'm trying to think. What else?
It reminded me of there's that one Digimon that's just like a chick with boobs on top and like an octopus on the bottom. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember that
from
one.
Digimon 2020, right? Adventure 2020.
No, it was the one where the humans turned to Digimon.
Yeah.
Oh.
She appeared in 2020, but she didn't originate in that show.
Oh, okay, yeah. I never saw Digimon Frontier, so for me, Digimon Adventure 2020 was like my first exposure to that character. I was like, oh, wow, you can get away with this type of character design in 2020. Okay.
Oh,
It's Japan, Andres. Nobody gives a shit.
Unless you're smoking or there's gore in it, in which case they'll like black the fuck out of those sequences.
exactly. That's how 4Kids rolls.
No, I mean in Japan. In Japan they do that. You've seen JoJo.
Oh yeah.
Will, you've seen all the censorship in that series. Just because a character happens to be underage,
Weird.
that's a whole other issue entirely.
Oh, there's technically one more character we haven't talked about yet.
Who that may that be?
The spirit that possessed Demon Bull King.
I don't know. There's not a lot to talk about with that. It's just.
But I believe I already know who the character is.
Okay, well, who is that character then?
Lady Whitebone. She was one of the first few villains that the characters fought against in the story, and they actually made her more of a bigger deal in this than that because she wasn't that strong in the story.
Okay.
So the one who possessed Demon Bull King.
Yeah.
Did she possess other characters in the original story?
No, she mostly shapeshifted, which was very common with characters in Journey to the West.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
So shapeshifting, possession. Wonder how they came to that idea.
She's a ghost.
Oh, she's a ghost.
Oh, okay.
A ghost-like creature.
I see.
Yep.
She's a specter.
Yeah, but like I said, they're going pretty deep when it comes to the characters they're using, like the Demon Brothers, the Spider Queen, and Lady Whitebone.
Okay then. Oh, I just happened to come across this image right here that features like MK and his team going up against the Spider Queen and a bunch of spider demons that we never saw in the series. So hey, if we ever get a season 2, maybe we'll see these other spider demons.
Now there is supposed to be a season 2 from actually a season 3 according to you.
Yeah. Oh, according to the which I got according to the Lego Monkey Kid wiki. So we'll see how accurate that is down the line.
That's where I get all my news from.
Although I can easily see this running for 3 seasons. I've noticed like a lot of Lego toy lines tend to run at least for 3 waves in the span of 3 years. So it's like season 1, here's the base set with the main heroes and villains. Season wave 2, here's the same heroes but with new outfits or vehicles and accessories and new villains. Season 3, same as before. Third verse, same as before. New heroes, maybe some new heroes, and some returning villains. A mixture of returning and old and new villains.
I do hope we get some of the warriors from heaven that Sun actually fought against.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting to bring in some of the heavenly characters. But I don't know. I don't know if, given the time slot, the restrictions they've had in this series, I don't know if they're willing to go that far in terms of like having a more complicated battle, like a complicated like politics between the heroes, the villains, and the third party of heavenly figures.
Now, there is a possibility for the character of Neza to appear because that character has been getting really popular in China due to the anime movie that came out.
Okay.
Neza is a warrior that has flaming wheels on the bottom of his feet. Kind of imagine Hermes.
Ah, okay, but with rollerblades.
Kind of, yes.
Flaming rollerblade Hermes. He's essentially Ghost Skater.
Exactly. Another potential one is the 3-eyed warrior I was telling you about.
Right. The not Tien.
Yeah. But technically Tien would be a not him.
Oh, that is true, yeah. But then again, I'm from America, and I grew up on Dragon Ball, so I'm gonna go with not Tien.
That's right on.
So this is what it feels like to be as ignorant as Dylan. As proudfully ignorant as Dylan.
If it's all white, it's all right.
There's also a possibility of Buddha.
That I'd be very excited to see, only because I love to imagine the idea of an officially licensed Lego Buddha figure.
And I'm curious, would it be Fat Buddha or would it be Skinny Buddha?
I feel like
yeah,
Buddha would be more likely, right?
I don't know.
Isn't it Chinese the ones who made up Fat Buddha?
Probably.
That's where you.
Actually, I noticed one of the most common depictions of Buddha in majority of Asian countries is the skinny Buddha.
Just so that whenever you go to a Chinese restaurant, that's when I typically see Fat Buddha.
Right.
Well, yeah, they want to encourage you to eat.
And the whole explanation was that in China, I guess being fat was considered like a sign of like wealth and like health because you had enough food to eat.
It's like I've reached enlightenment in my belly.
You would walk up to
Reach
Fat
enlightenment at the Golden Corral.
and you would rub Fat Buddha's belly and wish for things, which is rude. In all honesty, you know.
That's one fat Asian guy.
It sounds like you've spoken from experience, Dylan.
I mean, of all the ways that people from different religions pray to their gods, that's got to be the rudest way, right? You just walk up to them and fucking start touching them, like.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to do that to Jesus.
Right. You don't
Wait,
walk.
Jesus, I gotta touch you.
Try walking up to Jesus sometime and like fucking. Let me see. What the fuck is that? And fucking start fucking with his wrist holes. He won't like that. Slap the shit out of you.
I love our blasphemies.
Well, before we blaspheme too much, and upset many more people, I think it's about time we should start wrapping up because we've been at this for about an hour and a half now. So let's start with Dylan. Overall, final thoughts on Lego Monkey Kid, and would you recommend the series, and if so, to whom?
Man, I don't know what to say except this show is fucking crazy. It's really weird. It's out there. It's bizarre. It's very high energy. So if you're not a very high energy person and you find that super annoying, don't watch it for sure. But I don't know, if you're interested in Journey to the West, and if you don't mind that sort of fast-paced sort of ADHD approach,
Mm-hmm.
and anything that we've said sounds entertaining or interesting to you, then yeah, definitely check it out.
Would you be interested in watching season 2 after this, Dylan?
Potentially.
That's not an answer, Dylan.
I'll take it. Will, as the all-knowing expert on Journey to the West among us, what are your thoughts on this series? Does it get your seal of approval?
I highly recommend it just because of how surprisingly accurate it can be when it comes to these characters and how deep they go into Journey to the West.
Mm-hmm.
The humor is something you need to get used to, but it does have a lot of funny moments in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course, a great voice cast. We forgot to mention that the voice of MK was Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No, I think I mentioned that before.
Yeah, you did? Oh,
And by the way, he does do a great job. Props to him. Dude's awesome. As does everyone else here, which I forgot to mention. If I were to have a guy do the voice, if I were to have a voice actor, I know I kind of mentioned a person to do I kind of imagine Danny DeVito doing the voice of Echua from my comic. I would love, if I couldn't get Danny DeVito, the guy who does Pigsy, he would definitely be my second go-to guy. And also he kind of reminds me of Fred Flintstone from the Fruity Pebble commercials. Barney, my pebbles! Instead, it would be
God.
MK, my ramen! Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No problem, but yeah, I would highly recommend it just for all the reasons I just said.
Okay. David B. Mitchell, that's apparently Pigsy's voice actor, who happens to come from Tennessee, Dylan. Tullahoma, Tennessee.
Oh, I know where that is.
Let's see here. So, yeah, Journey to the West, as someone with a passing knowledge on the series, thanks to YouTube and through my through my collaborations with Will here, it's been a very interesting. Journey to the West in general is a very interesting rabbit hole to go down through as someone who's grown up with Dragon Ball and I've enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, the original series, I really wish that there was like a means of reading or even hearing this series through a book or audiobook that's like a very decent enough like modern translated version of it. But as for the series as a whole, it does, from what little knowledge I have of Journey to the West, it does a very brilliant job of providing a modernized take on the series. It's very fun, it's bright, it's colorful, beautifully animated, very funny, and in many cases, it seems like the creators were as respectful. They want to make a decent version of Journey to the West that respects what came before while doing their own spin on it. And I think they did a really damn good job of it. I wish, again, like the only thing holding it back is its ADHD levels of pacing. I just wish that they if only they gave it more time to for each episode to fully flesh out and develop its world, its characters, similar to what they did with the TV special. Even the TV special itself, the pilot special, had like a very like truncated, abridged, rapid pacing to it as well. But with what we are given, it's still a lot of fun. And so I would say if you're a fan of fantasy action series that's like very high octane, very energetic, fast paced, if you're into that kind of stuff, and you want to get some like damn good, beautiful animation, you're not going to get this anywhere else, I'd say. So yeah, definitely give Lego Monkie Kid a shot, based on what I've seen from season 1, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other sort of deep pulls they'll be making for seasons 2 and potentially 3. So yeah, overall, those have been our thoughts on Lego Monkie Kid. As for availability, it's kind of difficult to find. Apparently, we were able to watch it because somebody recorded these episodes off of a Malaysian or Singaporean broadcasting of the English version and uploaded it to the web, to the internet, where you can find it on YouTube or Kiss Cartoon, what have you. So yeah, if you happen to check it out, please let us know what you think. And if any of you guys are fans of Journey to the West, do let me know where anyone can access the series. I'd definitely be interested in an audiobook if Audible ever gets a hold of one of them. I know it's a really big ass book, but it wouldn't hurt. I am definitely hoping that Barnes & Nobles may make like a cool badass hardcover version like they do with a lot of public domain books of theirs.
That would be awesome. I already have a couple of mythology ones.
Nice. I happen to have Jurassic Park and the Lost World Jurassic Park. I know, Dylan, you've got like quite a collection of Barnes & Noble's books, right?
Yes, I've got a ton of them.
Sweet. Yeah, surprised they haven't done Journey to the West. But anyways, yeah, sorry.
I still want to do a Tolkien one, so don't hold your breath.
That'd be amazing. So anyways, where can people find you, Will?
They can find me on my YouTube channel, Crookedlore Productions, on my Facebook page, Crookedlore, and they can also read my novel, God's Wrath, Tournament of Divine, both book 1 and 2 on Amazon. Heads up, book 1 will be republished here in the coming months, and I'm working with some friends over at Hop Toys to make a neat little project.
Yes, which may entail certain characters from said novels, right?
Yep. And a certain cat girl mascot.
Sweet. And as always, where can people find you, Dylan?
Right here, roughly every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Talking about whatever the hell you're about to endorse to me.
Right. So for the next episode, on the next episode of Fully Endorsed, I'll be fully endorsing a reality TV show that is perhaps my favorite one over the last couple of years. It's a show I've been surprisingly addicted to ever since clips and episodes were uploaded onto YouTube with its official and unofficial YouTube accounts, and that is Kitchen Nightmares, starring everyone's favorite chef, Gordon Ramsay. I grew up with him. I grew up with him watching Hell's Kitchen. That was my first exposure to him. And eventually they made a series where instead of him yelling at chefs for a cooking contest, he's yelling at chefs in their own restaurants.
Yeah, to be fair, Gordon Ramsay has like 9,000 TV shows now.
That is true, yeah. I think he did like Hotel Hell, and he did like To Hell and Back, which was sort of like, what was it? Oh, Rose. What was it called? Like, oh, I think it was called like 60 Hours or 60 Minutes to Hell and Back or whatever.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a spiritual successor to Kitchen Nightmares. But no, we're looking at Kitchen Nightmares, specifically the American version, only because I happen to find it to be. It's not as sophisticated as the UK one, as Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, but it's just all sorts of fun, and I can't wait to share a handful of episodes from various seasons with Dillion, as opposed to watching a single season or the entire series. I'll be taking a select handful of the most popular episodes, show them to him, and we'll be discussing it in the near future. So can't wait for that. And also, recently, Dillion, David, aka Gorazard, and I all did a roughly almost like 2 hours conversation breaking down discussing the Godzilla vs. Kong movie trailer that just came out, as well as giving our thoughts on Shin Ultraman and a little bit of Godzilla Singular Point right before the second teaser came out, which people in the comments have talked about, bring up as well. But you can talk, it's a little SOS Sons of Serizawa reunion, so you can definitely check that out if you are interested. So, as always...
Bill's not there, quit asking.
What's that?
I said, no, Bill's not there, quit asking.
Right. So, as always, I am Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir.
I'm Super Neo 64.
I am the mediocre sage equal to heaven, William Kearney.
How can you be both mediocre and equal to heaven?
I'm not the heaven you're thinking of.
Oh.
Maybe heaven's mediocre, Andres, You don't know. You haven't been there,
True that. I have not been there.
Or, you're just sitting around all day fucking...
It's like one giant McDonald's, except the McFlurry machine is always broken.
Like when you go to like a really nice place and you take in the view, but then after a while you're just sitting there like, it's good, isn't it? Yeah. What now? Forever.
Anyways, fellas, thank you very much for being a part of this. And as for you fine ladies and gentlemen of the audience, thank you very much as always for your support. And until next time, take care.